my friends, summer is over. But so what? I, the big bad wolf, am still around anyways, and today I'm going to review a rather unique Disney record product of sorts. A Walt Disney read-along kit from the Walt Disney Educational Media Company. I'm doing this due to the new school year starting, with my son Lil Bad Wolf away at college and all. These are actually quite different from the regular read-alongs by Disneyland Records. They were designed to be used in school listening centers. You know, where they hook up a bunch of headphones to an audio player of some sort for the kids to listen to. Some schools still use them, while nowadays they usually use CDs or even iPods. But anyways, I bet you're not surprised by the title here. Of course, it's the title I'm in. But the recording for this is very different from the regular Three Little Pigs read-along that you're familiar with. You know, this one. There, better view. This particular one was produced in 1970. Disney was also well prepared here. In addition to the audio being on a small LP record like this, they also had it on cassette tape as well. That's because back then, school listening centers typically would use either a record player or a tape recorder hooked up to the headphones. So Disney figured they'd offer on both audio formats to make it easy. Naturally, I'm going to play the record version, as I don't have a working cassette player in here right now anyways. Now take a look at the teacher's edition here. Yeah, these kinds of books are a little difficult for us toons to open and such. It's got some cool vintage illustrations in here. It says here about listening centers being an ideal way to give personalized instruction, hold children's attention, and free teachers from more creative tasks. Nice picture of Mickey Mouse here at the record. It also suggests to appoint a student leader for each listening group. It also describes how to set up and use the listening center equipment and learning objectives. Look at the number 8 here. Extended acquaintance with classics of children's literature. That's the Three Little Pigs, all right. Teacher room preparation is discussed here. Sorry, I'm not as smart as some of those other Disney villains. No wonder I failed catching the pigs. Look at this illustration here. Looks like a typical school classrooms in the 50s or 60s. Nothing like today's fancy modern school buildings. Pupil preparation is also described here. Look at this illustration here. Them all listening to the read-along on record, of course. And then the utilization guide of the story. Look at the vocabulary. It includes little, loot, sawed away, sober little pig, stout, mortar, disappeared, squealed, pause, fangs, kettle, furious, and fortunes. Interesting choices, particularly sober little pig. Of course, you could tell that you could tell it's the same illustrations as the regular read-along edition from that 1948 Golden Book. Especially where I look like this. I swear that Disney artists that did the pictures for this book must have been so used to doing Disney foxes at the time, and it just made me look like one of them, but with black fur. They offer questions for discussion or a written assignment to be answered in complete sentences. They're pretty easy if you're familiar with the cartoon, like, who popped out of the woods to frighten the first little pig? I did! And additional activities are described here, like the idea of houses out of imaginative materials, and researching how houses were built in the past and the present, and then using the song Who's Afraid of Big Bad Wolf for creative dance experiences. At the end of each of the children's read-along books is this How Good a Listener Are You page, featuring Pluto. Sorry, Tilt. And it also mentions the read-alongs here. As an added plus, original Disney songs have been included where appropriate. As a result, this audio program features a heavily cut-down version of that bizarre 1958 re-recording of the song, Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf, with the eerie, menacing version of me and the girlish Practical Pig voice. Additionally, the Disney story reader on this read-along is Robie Lester, who also narrated the regular Three Little Pigs read-along. She does read the story a bit slower, probably to make it easier on younger children learning to read. Now I'll get out one of the books meant for the listeners. On the back of each one is this, Mickey's Rules for Good Listening. We come and go quietly at the listening center. We take care of the earphones and books. We wait politely for our materials. We listen carefully as we follow the words in our books. We write our answers without talking to each other. And we follow our teacher's directions. How good a listener are you? They really enforce listening in this. Okay, so let's get started on the record. There. Speed on 33. There. There. I know.
Hello, boys and girls. I am your read-along story reader, and today we are going to read the story of The Three Little Pigs. Before we begin the story, though, let's listen to a song about the three little pigs and the big bad wolf.
Yep.
As you're listening, look through the book at some of the pictures.
We don't take no time to play, time to play.
Let's start there like in the cartoon.
You can play and laugh and fiddle. Don't think you can make me sore. I'll be playing, you'll be sorry when the wolf knocks on your door. Who's afraid of the big bad wolf?
There's me, sort of.
Curses! They're both safe in their brother's house of bricks.
See, I told you what would happen when that big wolf came around. Only bricks and stones are wolf-proof. Now at last you're safe and sound.
Well, you added it. It's kind of like on the Disney sing-along video. I love to laugh when they featured it.
Who's afraid of the big bad wolf?
2 bits,
Open the door and let me in.
said the not me wolf. Here are cuts right to that part.
Now that we have heard the song about the three little pigs,
Thank goodness.
we are ready to begin reading about them in our books. Let's begin by turning to the first page. You can tell it is page 1 by the little number 1 in the lower right-hand corner of the page. Do you find it?
Yeah.
As we read along, you will know it is time to turn the page when Tinkerbell rings her little bells like this.
Ooh, a different chime sound.
Now, let's begin. The words say, once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs who went out into the big world to build their homes and seek their fortunes. The first little pig did not like to work at all. He quickly built himself a house of straw. Then off he danced down the road to see how his brothers were getting along. The second little pig was building himself a house too. He did not like to work any better than his brother, so he had decided to build a quick and easy house of sticks.
Guess that sound was just
Soon,
for these read-along kits.
It was not a very strong little house, but at least the work was done. Now the second little pig was free to do what he liked. What he liked to do was to play his fiddle and dance. So while the first little pig tooted his flute, the second little pig sawed away on his fiddle, dancing as he played. Then off danced the 2 little pigs down the road together to see how their brother was getting along. The third little pig was a sober little pig.
Mm-hmm.
He was building a house too.
He's sober because he
But
doesn't
he
drink
was
either.
building his of bricks. He did not mind hard work, and he wanted a stout little, strong little house, for he knew that in the woods nearby there lived a big, bad wolf
Me, not
who
that.
liked nothing better than to catch little pigs and eat them up. So slap, slush, slap.
It sounded like farting in the cartoon when he did that. The
Laying
slash,
bricks
slop,
and
slap.
smoothing mortar between them. Laughed the first little pig when he saw his brother hard at work. Ho, ho, ho! Laughed the second little pig. Come down and play with us, he called. But the busy little pig did not pause. Laughed
The laughing was more
lazy
convincing
little
in the
pig,
regular read-along.
dancing along to the tune of the fiddle and the flute. You can laugh and dance and sing, their busy brother called after them. But I'll be safe, and you'll be sorry when the wolf comes to the door.
There's that illustration from the book he's
Laughed
printed
the
the
2
book,
little pigs again.
the cover.
And they disappeared into the woods, singing a merry tune. Stop reading for a moment now, boys and girls. This time, when Tinkerbell rings her little bells, put your book face down so you won't lose your place, and then turn the record over. Ready?
Yeah. I know where a place is. It's on page 12. That hideous... It's on page 12 here. With that hideous dirt-face headshot of me. But so far you can see how different it is from the regular read-along edition. Like I said, the slower pacing is because she is reading it with young children in mind. Of course, the cassette edition does not have the interruption with the reminder to turn the record over, as the entire program is contained on a single side of the tape, with the whole thing duplicated on the other side, like many of Disney's read-along cassettes are. And with that said, let me turn the record over and we'll get to my part in the story.
Now we're ready to start reading again. Do you have your book open to page 12?
Duh.
See the little 12 in the lower left-hand corner?
Of course I do.
And see the wolf at the top of the page?
The ugly not me
Let's
did
find
that
out
one.
what he's up to.
Oh, I know.
Ready? Begin reading. Just as the first pig reached his door, out of the woods popped the big, bad wolf. The little pig squealed with fright and slammed the door. Little pig! Little pig! Let me come in! Cried the wolf. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin, said the little pig. Then I'll huff and I'll huff and I'll blow your house in.
That sounds more like she's voicing a witch instead of a
And
big bad wolf.
he did. He blew the little straw house all to pieces.
Yeah, because usually with these read-alongs, Robie Lester had to come up with character voices on the spot.
No sooner was he in the door,
They didn't have, like, video references or anything back then. Not like with the newer read-alongs when they would recast characters.
but of course, the little pigs would not let him come in. I'll fool those little pigs,
Ugh.
said the big bad wolf to himself. He left the little pig's house and he hid behind a big tree.
No, I hid near the end of the fence, near the
Soon the door
cornfield.
opened, and the two little pigs peeked out. There was no wolf in sight.
The slow laugh
The
again.
two little pigs. We fooled him.
In the real cartoon, they just softly said,
Soon
"He's
there
gone."
came another knock at the door. It was the big bad wolf again, but he had covered himself with a sheepskin and was curled up in a big basket, looking like a little lamb.
Yeah, here comes the cute illustration.
Who's there? Called the second little pig.
I'm a poor little sheep with no place to sleep. Please open the door and let me in.
Sheesh.
Said the big bad wolf in a sweet little voice.
No, this goes, "I'm a poor little sheep with no place to
Through a
sleep."
crack of the door, and he could see the wolf's big black paws
What
and
paws?
sharp
And
fangs.
hooves are on in that one.
Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. You can't fool us with that sheepskin, said the second little pig. Then I'll huff and I'll huff and I'll blow your house
At least she
in.
didn't make me sound dopey like in the real read-along by that
He
point.
huffed and he puffed and he puffed straight to the third little pig's house of bricks. "Don't worry," said the third little pig to his two frightened little brothers. "You are safe here." Soon they were all singing gaily.
Gay had a different meaning back then, of course.
Big bad wolf, perfectly furious.
Ugh, look at that sneer.
"Now by the hair of my chinny chin, he roared, "I'll hop, and I'll pop, and I'll blow your house in."
Now it's trying to make me sound like an old man.
Big bad wolf huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, but he could not blow down that little house of bricks. How could he get in? At last he thought of the chimney. So up he climbed quietly.
Of course, in the real cartoon,
Then with a
by
snarl,
that point I was
down
nude.
he jumped, right into a kettle of boiling water.
Ugh.
With a yelp of pain, he sprang straight up the chimney
Of course, it left out the
and
turpentine.
raced away into the woods. The three little pigs never saw him again.
Until the
And
sequels in the
spent
comics,
time
of
in
course.
his strong little brick house, singing and dancing merrily. If your teacher has not given you an activity to do for this story, try this. The pigs had houses made of straw, sticks, and bricks. See if you can draw a picture of a very special house. One that is made of feathers or seashells or cookies or bottles or something else that's different. What can you think of?
Nothing, because I'm not in a listening center in a school listening to this, so I am not being given an assignment. Well, there you go. A Walt Disney educational read-along kit version of the Three Little Pigs. It's pretty interesting seeing how Disney had an educational division of their company like that, and they still do today. Though, of course, they don't make read-along kits for listening centers anymore. You know, this November will mark 50 years since the first 8 Disney read-along book and record sets were released. The Three Little Pigs being one of them. But I don't think Disney's going to do anything about it. But speaking of that cartoon, as I was saying, speaking of that cartoon, I did pre-order that silly symphony record set being put out by Disney Records. And it'll include the 10-inch single with the Three Little Pigs soundtrack and a skeleton dance. Watch for a review on it here on YouTube once I get it in November. Oh yeah, also the latest issue of Walt Disney Comics and Stories, issue 723 here, reprints a fun comic story featuring me and my son from 1949. The one where his school puts on to play Little Red Riding Hood, and since he plays the woodsman, I try to save the family name by playing the wolf in the story, complete with me in a full body costume. Of course, I could still dress up as other wolves if need be. As always, stay tuned to this YouTube channel, especially since, speaking of dressing up, Halloween will be here before you know it.